Taytu Betul, the unsung lioness of Africa. In the late 19th century, as European powers carved up Africa with greed and deception, one woman stood unshaken, a queen, a warrior, a strategist, and a heroine whose name deserves to echo through history. Her name is Empress Taytu Betul of Ethiopia, the lioness who defied an empire. When people speak of African resistance against colonialism, names like Shaka Zulu, Samori Touré, and Menelik II often rise to the surface. But behind the victory that secured Ethiopia's independence at the Battle of Adwa in 1896 stood a woman of unmatched brilliance, Taytu Betul. Taytu Betul was born around 1851 in Gondar, northern Ethiopia. She came from a powerful noble family with royal bloodlines, meaning politics, diplomacy, and warfare were in her veins from birth. Unlike many women of her time, Taytu was well educated. She could read, write, and was fluent in Amharic and Ge'ez. She even mastered traditional diplomacy, outsmarting seasoned politicians before she ever wore a crown. Taytu married Menelik II, who would become Emperor of Ethiopia. But make no mistake, she was no silent partner. Taytu was fierce, outspoken, and politically sharp. If Menelik was the lion, then Taytu was the claws. Ministers and foreign envoys quickly learned you could not sway Menelik without first passing through the wisdom and the sharp tongue of Taytu. She wasn't afraid to call out nonsense, even from her own husband. In 1889, Ethiopia signed the Treaty of Wuchale with Italy. But here's the trick. The Amharic version said Ethiopia could ask Italy for diplomatic help with foreign powers. The Italian version claimed Ethiopia was now a protectorate under Italy, a sneaky colonial scam. But Taytu, she read the treaty, she smelled the deceit, and she refused to let her people be fooled. Taytu Betul said, Ethiopia has no need of a protectorate. Are we not a people who can govern ourselves? It was Taytu who urged Menelik and the Ethiopian nobles to reject the treaty, and when Italy pressed its false claim, she demanded resistance, not submission. When Italy sent an army to enforce its so-called protectorate, Taytu was not content to sit in the palace. She rode to war alongside her husband. Yes, an empress on horseback, commanding troops in the highlands of Ethiopia. She personally led a battalion of thousands of women, providing water, food, and care for the soldiers. And when morale dropped, it was Taytu's fiery speeches that reignited courage. Taytu once raised a spear before the troops saying, Do not give away your country. Do not let the white man rule Ethiopia. Better to die with honor than live in shame. The Italian army, well-armed, confident, and backed by European arrogance, marched into the mountains of Adwa. What they didn't expect was an Ethiopian army united under Menelik II and inspired by the unshakable Empress Taytu. While Menelik commanded the center, Taytu directed 40 cannons on the high ground. Her strategic placement rained fire on the invaders, devastating their formations. The result? A stunning victory. The Italians were crushed. Tens of thousands fled or surrendered, and Ethiopia, the only African nation to defeat a European colonial power in full-scale battle, remained independent. Without Taytu Betul, there might never have been a victory at Adwa. She was more than a queen. She was a strategist, a patriot, and a voice of defiance. She inspired not only Ethiopians, but also Africans across the continent, proving that colonizers could be defeated. Yet, history often hides women behind their husbands. Menelik II is remembered, but Taytu Betul remains in the shadows. Today, Ethiopia stands as a symbol of resistance and pride, and behind that symbol stands the unshaken empress who dared to say no to empire. So the next time you hear about Adwa, remember this: the roar of victory was carried by a lioness. If you enjoyed this story of an unsung African heroine, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Who do you think is another forgotten African legend we should cover next? Drop your suggestions in the comments, and we will give them a heroic review.